Hey, what's going on, guys? So if you're an agency owner and you're feeling burned out, you have clients writing you all day, doing all the work yourself, then I want you to stay tuned because I'm going to talk about 3 reasons why maybe that's happening to you and potentially some good solutions. So let's go ahead and check them out. I myself grew 2 agencies, one in the medical aesthetic space and another one in the dental space, to making grand total about $180,000 a month. I've kind of gotten over that edge myself. Right now, I currently only take 2 leadership meetings and 1 team meeting every single week. My calendar is mostly empty. I've been able to get to a place in my agency where I do have a lot more time flexibility and a lot more freedom. All right, so the number 1 reason why you might be stressed out and a little burned out about your agency is probably because you're still stuck in the fulfillment. So this is one of the biggest problems that most agency owners struggle with. It's just doing the work themselves, right? So if you're stuck between, $5 to $15, 20, maybe $20,000 a month, typical things is whether you're doing the Facebook ads yourself, you're doing the client management yourself, or maybe you're doing sales yourself as well. And so, at the end of the day, probably like me, you got into business because you wanted to work for yourself, but your business was a means to an end, right? And that end was you having a lot more flexibility to do the things that you wanted to do, whether that's spend more time with your family, maybe spend more time on your passions, maybe traveling a little bit more, whatever that might be, right? For me right now, it's really all about just spending more time with my wife and my 2-year-old, really just enjoying the time that we get to spend with him every day. I'm super grateful that I'm able to wake up my son every single morning and I bring him to bed with him and my wife, and we just chill with them. We cuddle, and we hang out. And it's one of the most beautiful things actually right now in my life, because not a lot of people have the luxury, right? They have to wake up, they have to get ready, and they have to take their kids to daycare and then go to work. So I'm just super grateful of the fact that I can go and wake up Luca, make some toast, make a latte, and just really spend that time with my son and with my wife. And so it's one of the things that I just really love about the type of lifestyle that I have right now. But I would not be able to do that if I was stuck in the day-to-day with my agency. And the reality is that if you're still stuck in the day-to-day doing fulfillment, whether that's sales, client success, or actually doing the work yourself, then you need to implement the steps so that you can actually start to remove yourself sooner than later. So you need to build a team. And so the first thing that I would remove myself from is actually doing the actual work itself, delivering the product. So, whether that's hiring an ads manager or whatever it is that you actually do for your client, remove yourself from that thing first. The second thing that I would remove myself from is from doing client management. So doing the check-in calls with your clients. We do check-in calls every 2 weeks with our clients. And so I just removed myself. I hired a client success manager, and that was the second role that I ensured that I hired on as soon as possible. And then number 3 was ultimately hiring a salesperson. So once you can find a salesperson that can actually generate sales for you without you having to do anything, dude, it changes the game and it's the best thing ever. So those are the 3 steps that I would take. And of course, you would probably hire a VA somewhere in there as well. I forgot about that one, but that would be actually super important as well to make sure that they're doing any minuscule tasks that you might have in your agency. So don't get stuck in the day-to-day, number 1, because you will ultimately hate it. You will ultimately get tired, and it gets to the point where you just burn yourself out because you're just having meetings and calls and doing fulfillment back to back to back. And so that leads to my second thing, which is most agencies are overcomplicating their process. So a lot of the feedback that I get from people is that they can remove themselves from the process. They are the ones doing fulfillment because they actually haven't created a replicatable process in their business that delivers consistent results to their clients. And so this is actually something that we had to look at in our agency because we realized that we were just doing too many things. And so when you're offering too many things for your clients, then you add extra layers of complexity in your business. And the more layers of complexity, then the more mistakes ultimately happen. And then the more people that you actually need to hire to fulfill those things. And so we had to take a close look to say, what are the actual things that are giving the clients 80% of the results, right? If it's not helping our clients get results, then we're gonna take it away. So things like social media marketing. We were doing social media marketing for our clients. We were doing posting 3 posts every single week. At the end of the day, it doesn't really help clients get the best result. And so we took that away, right? SEO. We're not the best at SEO, so we're gonna take that away, right? And so when we kind of took all the stuff away, what we really landed on were 2 services that we were able to fulfill on that were duplicatable and then scalable. And that ultimately allowed me to remove myself, because now I wasn't the bottleneck. I wasn't the person that just had all this IP in my head. I was able to put that in a process and systemize it, hand it over to a team member, and then they were able to take it from there, right? And so you have to strip away the things that you do, because if you're doing too much, then ultimately you will never be able to remove yourself, or you'll have to hire too many people, and then ultimately too many mistakes happen, and then you have all these fires that you have to be putting out at the end of the day in your business. All right, so that's number 2. And my number 3 recommendation is that you have to niche down to a blue ocean. And so let me explain what I mean, because a lot of you might already have a niche, but you might be suffering through this problem that we actually had as well. And so one of the agencies that I have is a med spa agency. So technically you could say that the med spa industry is my niche, but the truth is that we were actually working with multiple niches inside of the med spa industry. And so that is one of the common phrases. You might have heard of it in the past, which is you have to niche the niche, right? Until then you get a blue ocean. And so this is where you go from being a generalist to a specialist. And so what was happening to us was that we work with the medical aesthetics industry, but we work with people that offered Botox, people that offered filler, people that offer body contouring, cool sculpting, M-Sculpt, all these different services that the medical aesthetic industry offered. And ultimately it was not allowing us to create a replicatable process, because even though all those services were different, each one was a different kind of agency. It was a different process that we had to implement. And so what we had to take a look at is which one of these is the one that we really want to specialize in and go all in, right? And so one of the things that I teach in my program, we call it the productized agency. And this is a whole new take on running a digital agency, because traditional agencies, you were doing a ton of custom work for clients. That was a traditional agency. I've been in the agency game since I was 21. I'm 34 now. So over a decade of experience, and I've had multiple iterations of an agency, from doing web development, mobile development, advertising, video production, social media marketing, now to just doing lead gen. And the reason why I focus on doing lead gen is because it's a duplicatable and scalable process, and I don't have to be reinventing the wheel. I can just go ahead and actually do the same thing for every single client. So, and therefore make it productized, which then, like I said, makes it scalable, and it allows me the flexibility to remove myself from the day-to-day. And the reason why I love doing lead gen and helping clients with getting them new clients or new patients, it's because it's a duplicatable process. But you need to have one niche and one service, and then you need to then just offer 1 to 2 things as part of your productized agency. Because if you do more than that, then again, you're adding extra layers of complexity, and it'll be very difficult for you to get to a place where you can ultimately remove yourself and really enjoy, the fruits of your labor. The reason why you started this business in the first place was to have your, dream lifestyle, or whatever it is that you really wanted to do, right? And so an example of this is my dental agency. When we went to work with dentists, we decided that we were only gonna work with Invisalign providers, right? So within dentistry, you could work implants, Invisalign, veneers, there's a ton of different services. And so you wanna pick one industry, and then you wanna pick one service within that industry, and then you wanna offer 1 to 2 things. So for us, it was doing reactivation campaigns, and it was doing Facebook ads. So that was our bread and butter, and that's all we did for Invisalign providers that were dentists, right? So you gotta niche the niche, and that's how you create a productized agency. So number 1, get out of fulfillment as fast as possible. Number 2, take a look at what you're delivering and see what you can strip away. What is not getting your clients results? What is the fluff that you have in your agency, right? And then number 3, niche down, niche the niche. Serve one industry, serve one service, and then offer just 1 to 2 things that are easy to fulfill on, so that you can ultimately remove yourself from the day to day. So if that was helpful, guys, I want you to give me a like, hit me a subscribe, follow me on Instagram for more content like this, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Cheers.